Cooper Flagg has been hyped up as the next big-time prospect for a few years now. Outside of Victor Wembanyama, he's the most hyped incoming prospect of the 2020s, and while it's still very early and we have to see how he plays at Duke, coming out of high school and entering his draft cycle year, Flagg is a type of prospect at 17 years old that the American game hasn't seen since the likes of LeBron James. From his tools, to his skill, to his feel, to his motor, it's really unprecedented, and while only time will tell as of right now, Cooper Flagg is worth the hype going into this season based off what we've seen so far. But quickly before we go any further, if you're new and like basketball, I'd really appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, notify whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out in the YouTube algorithm, help support the channel, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Anyways, let's talk about Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg stands at 6'9", he weighs 205 pounds, and has a reported wingspan at over 7 feet. While he still has room to grow into his frame, he has the ideal baseline for a modern day forward, the ideal height and wingspan, and he also has a frame that suggests that he can add a lot of functional strength in my opinion. He's only 17 years old and the frame has time to develop. Ideally, by the time he enters the draft, he'll be around 210 to 215 pounds. And I think his ideal playing weight at the NBA will be around 220 to 230 pounds. And even now, it's not like his frame is bad. It's not like Chet Holmgren or Brandon Ingram, and those were guys that despite their skinny frames and lack of physical strength, they were still incredible prospects. In fact, I would say his frame is close to a guy like Jason Tatum when he was coming out of high school, where he's not super skinny, but it's also very clear that he can add more strength. When you combine his physical tools with his fluid movement skills, decent quickness and speed, good explosiveness, you get the ideal physical and athletic profile for a modern day forward. He's not quite as explosive as guys like Zion Williamson, Ben Simmons, or Paolo Banchero as prospects, but he's far from a bad athlete, even if he's not a freak athlete. But he's definitely somebody that I think will be looked at as a very good athlete, regardless of if he's the most explosive or not, or if he's the quickest or fastest or not, things like that. His profile physically and athletically is more than enough given everything else in his game. What stands out most watching Cooper Flagg is the lack of a real flaw in his game. Now, that's not to say he's a perfect or elite player at every aspect of the game, but there's really nothing you can look at and say it's a real concern or a real flaw. He's physical and athletic as a slasher. He has very good creation upside. His handle's very functional for a forward. He's a good playmaker with high feel for the game. He's a solid shooter. He can play on and off the ball. He thrives in the half court and in transition. He's a monster rebounder on both sides of the glass, and defensively, he's one of the best the game has ever seen for his age. I don't think he has as high of a ceiling defensively as Victor Wembanyama did as a prospect because he's not 7'5" with an 8-foot wingspan. And I don't think he's going to be a guy like Victor Wembanyama who entered the NBA and immediately became the best defensive player in the world in his rookie season. He would have won Defensive Player of the Year in his rookie year if his team was even average this past season. But I do think when you compare Flagg to Wemby at 17 years old, Flagg is a more polished defensive prospect. His instincts and motor are incredible. He can defend at the point of attack and off the ball. He can switch on to multiple positions. He's active and engaged off the ball. He has great lateral quickness and a ton of ground coverage. He's a monster shot blocker at the rim, point of attack, and weak side. He's a physical defender that will only get stronger as he adds more functional strength to his game. He really just does it all defensively for a forward. The elevator pitch for Cooper Flagg is that he's a big forward that can drive, shoot, dribble, pass, rebound, and defend. Flagg can play multiple roles with multiple lineups. making him a very easy player to project as a potential cornerstone. And that's not even getting into the wiring as a player. His motor is off the charts. If you watched my Von Holland video, you know that I said Holland has the best motor I've ever seen in a prospect. Well, Flagg is right there with him in that regard. He's competitive by nature, he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, and that's what you look for in a potential star, let alone a potential franchise player. It's one thing to have all the gifts, it's another to capitalize on them. And I think he can capitalize on his gifts based off what he's shown already. While we have to see how Cooper Flagg performs at Duke to answer if he's actually this good of a prospect, the signs all suggest he's going to be one of the best draft prospects in recent memory. His intangible skill, feel, and motor suggest he has a very high floor. Those same things are also why he could have an absurdly high ceiling as a prospect as well. Because he's this good already at 17 years old. And he can still get a lot better. He can add more strength to his game. He can still get a lot better as a shooter and creator, even if he's already pretty solid at those things right now. And that's what makes him so special. It's not about improving on things to be good, because he's already really good at a lot of things. It's about improving on things to take his game to the elite heights that his potential suggests he can reach. I think Flagg will be one of the best players in the country as a freshman. I think he will be somebody that's an All-American candidate. I think he will be in the running for Conference and National Player of the Year, based off what he's shown already. And it's odd to say that about someone this young. Even if they are reclassing up and you know they're young and they're really talented, you don't expect them to make the leaps that Flagg could potentially make. We didn't say this about Anthony Edwards when he reclassed up. That's the biggest example of it. And he was still really good as a freshman, and I think Flagg will be even better than that. What he's shown at such a young age so far justifies this kind of hype. It's not a guarantee that he reaches it, and it's not even a guarantee that he ends up being the best Duke prospect in recent memory, compared to someone like Zion Williamson, because Zion was a special prospect in his own right. In fact, as of right now, he's the third best prospect I've ever evaluated. But I do think it's a real possibility that he ends up being a better prospect, just due to the high defensive floor, more well-rounded skill set, especially on the perimeter, and the ceiling as a player. And when comparing him to Zion, when we're just talking about the talent, that's absurdly high praise. Zion, to me, when he's healthy, is one of the 10 to 12 best players in the world. And so what I'm saying is, I think Cooper Flagg can overtake Zion Williamson as the best American-born prospect I've evaluated since I started covering drafts in 2016. I don't think he will reach the top 2, just because Wemby was that absurd of a ceiling prospect. I don't think we'll ever see a prospect again with that kind of ceiling. Or I could name a prospect that was this high of a ceiling in recent memory. It's just that unreal. And Luka Doncic, who I actually have as my number 1 prospect I've evaluated, had all NBA intangibles at 17 years old, and that's unheard of. LeBron is the only other name that comes to mind among prospects since 2000 with that kind of intangible in the game at that young of an age. But only time will tell, and even if he's not on the level of Luka or Wemby as a prospect, I wouldn't be shocked if Cooper Flagg ends up as my 3rd highest prospect grade I've ever given out. Cooper Flagg is only 17 years old. He's going to be the youngest prospect in the 2025 draft. He's going to be one of the youngest one-and-done prospects we've ever seen. He should still be a senior in high school. And it's rare to see a prospect this young also be this ready for the next levels of the game. He dominated high school. He dominated EYBL. In both those levels, he was facing really good high school competition. While it's not the be-all and end-all, the fact that at 17 years old, he held his own in Olympic scrimmages is insane. At 17 years old, he held his own against NBA stars, NBA greats, and NBA champions. If he's this good at 17 and is able to hang with those guys in practice, there's no telling how great he can be in the prime of his career. I know the quote-unquote generational label gets thrown around a lot, and we have a long way to go in watching how he performs at Duke, but I do think Flagg is someone that could be worth that hype and that label. And I think he's somebody that has all the skill. He has no real glaring flaw in his game. His areas he needs to work on at least have a good baseline. He will have his ups and downs. All prospects do, even generational ones. But I think he will show a lot of people that the hype is real. The things I've said in this video aren't things I just throw around. In fact, for most 17-year-olds, I do think this level of hype and expectations are a lot. But here's the thing, Cooper Flagg isn't like other 17-year-old basketball prospects. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notify whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing, the two best ways can help me out the YouTube algorithm, help support the channel. Let me know that I am making content that you enjoy, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Sorry this one took a really long time. I've had some things going on. I've been working on some stuff and life just gets in the way. But I'm back. I'm going to try to upload more consistently moving forward. Let me know what you think about Cooper Flagg in the comment section below. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.